Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Crazy D's Equipment. So today I want to talk to you about the 9N, 8N, 2N, the whole N series Ford tractors. You know this one here particularly quite a bit. You've seen it a few times in several past videos and stuff. But I had a gentleman come in the other day and he looked at this tractor. Now we're selling this tractor for the gentleman who bought this tractor from me. It ended up that this tractor didn't work for him like he was hoping, and I offered to go ahead and reconsign it to our lot and sell it for him. But that's a whole nother story in itself. But like I said, the other day I had a gentleman come in, looked at this tractor, was very interested, and he asked me a really good question. He goes, is an N-Series tractor really worth my money? And I kind of want to dive into that today, guys. So let's go ahead and you guys sit back, make some popcorn, and let's have that discussion. So guys, you kind of already know a little bit about these tractors. I'm sure by now. You know that the 9N series is the 9N because it was made in started production in 39. The 2N started in 42, and the 8N started in 48. And the 8N went all the way to 52. Now, the 2N and the 9N, 3-speed rear end, and they are about 20 horses, give or take a little bit. The 8N is a 4-speed, and it's about 28 horses. None of them have live PTO, and none of them will have a live hydraulics. Now, you can get a 9N, an 8N, or a 2N with a hydraulics, but usually it's an external hydraulic pump that is on the front of the tractor, runs down there below the radiator off of the main pulley off the cam, and that'll run the hydraulics for A, a loader, or B, you maybe have 1 or 2 lines to the back for a piece of equipment. But they don't have hydraulics like you would find on a more modern tractor, or even a belly pump like we'd find on a Farmall at this point in time, which was kind of a primitive version of what we are used to now today. These tractors, they're good. They're useful, but they're not modern, and they're not in any way something that I personally would say I would depend on my livelihood to make. I wouldn't say if I had a 9N, 8N, 2N, and it was what I had to use to make my livelihood. I wouldn't rely on them. They're not bad machines. They're just getting to be very old machines. And there's a point, no matter how well something is taken care of, at a certain point things will start failing and you will start having problems. Now, I'm not saying that they're bad tractors at all. Don't get me wrong. They're good tractors. Let's dive into, is one of these worth you spending your money on? Well, that's the question, right? And I think that starts with the simple answer of, what are you needing this for? Is it just going to mow? Is it just going to be used to keep my driveway smooth? Or is it going to need to be used for some form of heavy dirt work, or even moderate dirt work? I'm going to put a blade on the back of here and use that blade to drag out a pond. Or I got 5 acres, the grass is up to my damn neck, and I need to mow it. I mean, what are you needing to do with the tractor? It's going to be the question that you have to ask yourself. The 3-point on this thing only operates if the PTO is going, because the pump is internal, and all that is part of one drive from the motor all the way to the back there. That works, and it worked good for the time, but you don't have anything, you don't have any drift control. And that was the problem with this tractor originally. I sold it to a gentleman, he paid full price for it, he took it out, he had a haying operation, he was wanting to use this thing for his mower, and he couldn't control the depth of the mower. So he brought it back to us and he said, guys, I love the tractor, it runs like a top, it drives good, it handles, there's no steering issues, but I cannot keep my mower right where I want it with these hydraulics. Is there anything you can do? And so I got the dock, and we went and got it. We took it back to the shop, and we went to work, and we replaced all the seals in the rear end. We pulled the pump out, and then we replaced all the seals in the pump, so the pump would be solid and wouldn't be leaking any. We checked the pump out, very little wear on it and stuff, so the pump was really good. And then we took the lift cylinder off the 3-point on how these things work, and we took out the 9-in one, and we put in one that's equivalent to a Jubilee. So a Jubilee piston has 3 O-rings on it, and that way there isn't, when the pressure's pushing back on it, it holds in better, and it holds the fluid in, and you have better lift than the original 9-in pistons just have 1 O-ring at the top. And after a time that O-ring wears out, and that you got a heavy piece of equipment, and it's really easy for that piece of equipment's weight to cause your arms to sink down and put the thing down. So we did some upgrades on this one, on the 3-point and the hydraulic system. And I think if you're really going to get your money out of one of these, that I would highly recommend for you to do the same thing. If you have a 9-in or an 8-in, try to upgrade that hydraulic system to Jubilee or higher, in the system when you can. You get into the 801s, the 640s, stuff like that, that rear end's totally different. That's not going to work for you. But that will help you get your money worth out of one of these. The other thing is, I'm going to say is you're definitely going to want to take one of these. If it's not turned over to a 12-volt system, that you have it turned over to a 12-volt system. They start easier, and the batteries are easier to get when you need one. 6-volt batteries are definitely getting a little hard to find these days, and you're going to have a little bit. I think Orsolin's or TSC still carries them, but I could be very wrong. They may not carry them anymore, because I haven't needed one in quite a long time. So those are some things I think you need to do if you're going to get your money out of these. Now that goes back to, what did you give for this? And I'm going to say, and I've said this before in previous videos on the 9-in, 8-in, and 2-in tractors, that there's a lot of them out there, and I've made the joke many times that they're like the tribbles off of Star Trek, where they're just falling out of everywhere. You can't get away from them. And they really are. The Ford Motor Company pumped these things out like crazy, but they sold like crazy too. And they're out there and they're everywhere. So what's one of these worth? What am I going to need to pay so I'm feeling that I'm getting my money's worth out of an N-Series tractor? Well, I've always said anything over $2,500 to $2,800 is top end on one of these things. That is the absolute most that I would pay for any N-Series tractor. I've seen them out there listed for $4,000, $5,000. Yes, they're all pretty and painted up, and they have brand new tires all the way around, but they're just not worth that. And the simple fact that, okay, your pretty painted up one is $4,500, but I can go buy one that has original paint, that isn't looking, that runs and operates just as good as yours for $2,000, $2,500. Why would I want to pay $4,500 for yours? And that's the other thing I'm going to tell you. Before you buy one of these things, get on the Craigslist and the Nextech and whatever else classifieds you have, and search. Just because your neighbor down the street got one for sale for $1,500 doesn't make it a good deal. Get out there and search the classifieds and find them. You may find one just as good as your neighbor's tractor out there for $800. And that's the other thing about these is you're going to find them in all different shapes and all different conditions and at all different prices. They're out there, and they are you know, they're everywhere. Sometimes you're going to find them in really crappy shape for a really high price, or you're going to find someone to drag one out of the shed that was Grandpa's he hadn't used in 5 years, and they want $250 for it. Nab that one up, because the parts on these are not hard to get, and they're not hard to work on. If you got a good grasp on mechanical ability, and you have a good grasp on how a combustion engine works and how an updraft carburetor operates, you are not going to have a lot of trouble fixing these. Now, there are some things on here that are difficult to do. You get the earlier ones, this has the distributor and the coil as that block thing up front by the radiator. Yes, it's a BICTH to get to, and you got to pull the tin work off and almost got to pull the radiator off to get into it. But once you master working on your tractor, and you figure out what you need to do to fix what you got to fix, it's a good, you know, that's a good thing, and that'll save you some ownership money, because taking this thing to the dealer to have it fixed is not cost effective. I used to know an old gentleman that lived down the road from us. He had an old Jubilee, a golden Jubilee, that he had bought brand spanking new, and every winter he took it to the Ford dealership and had them go through it, and then every summer he took it to the Ford dealership and had them go through it. He wanted to make sure it was ready for winter. He wanted to make sure it was ready for mowing season and for the summer, and he took that tractor in all the time. And it got to the point where the dealership, yes, that was easy money for the techs and they didn't mind it, but they didn't want to work on it. It was 60 years old, and their equipment had moved on and stuff, and they really didn't want to work on that tractor anymore. And after a while, they're kind of like, you know, Harold, you took in such good care of that Jubilee, but you know what? We really don't want to be your service center anymore, and to please find another local mechanic to do it. And the tractor doctor's been doing it ever since. So, but which is easy money for him, because there's really never anything that needs to be done to it. And I guess one other little thing I kind of want to touch base, I like to say on these things, is the one thing is about these is good. Even somebody of my stature, which is not a tiny man by any means, it's not too difficult to crawl up and off on one of these. So if you're getting up there in years and your joints are getting bad and it's hard to get on and off a tractor, one of these is not bad about being able to crawl on and off of them. So the answer to the question, is an N-Series tractor worth the money? And the answer is, it depends on what you want to do with the tractor. I know that's really not much of an answer, but that is the best way to answer it. Is an N-Series worth my money? Simply, what are you planning to do with it? If you're just going to drag your drive and mow a little bit and use it for some light work around your property, probably. If you're going to want to buy this and start a landscaping business and use it to mow 20, 30, 40 acre lots every single day of the week, no, it's not. It isn't going to do the trick for you. And I think that's just kind of the easiest way to wrap this up. And I know some of you will disagree with me, and some of you will agree with me, but I think that's the best way to address this subject. So, hey guys, you know, I'm glad you all came in and watched this, and I appreciate it. Please go to work and hit the bell icon so you know when the next video comes up. Hit the subscribe button so you know when you know what's going on in the channel. If you are interested in maybe this tractor or other tractors, you can go to Facebook and you can find Omega Ag Sales, and you can see everything that's for sale on my lot. If you just want to follow Crazy D, go ahead, get on Facebook and go to Crazy D's Equipment, and you can just follow what's going on with us. I got a bunch of pictures that go up there, little videos that go up there. We'll catch some funny stuff at the tractor dock. We'll have some fun with it. And then if you just want to check out tractor pictures from Crazy D Equipment, stuff I've come up with, stuff that's been on the lot in the past, things I've seen, stuff that tractors that I enjoy, go to Instagram. We got an Instagram page now. That's right, Crazy D's getting all modern and stuff. So, but anyways, guys, thanks for coming in. I'm gonna go put this old girl back on the lot, and maybe we can get her sold this week. Thank you guys so much.